I know the feeling when you're scrolling through endless listings, trying to decide whether a subwoofer is worth the cash or just another piece of metal that will sit untouched in your trunk. You've probably heard the hype about 5,000-watt peaks and wondered if that's really going to translate into a tangible upgrade for the kind of music you listen to in your daily commute. You don't want to pour money into something that sounds great on paper but ends up just rattling the rear seats without actually adding any depth to your favorite tracks. And that's exactly why I'm here to walk through whether the Sundown Audio X15 V.3 D1 is the kind of bass monster that will truly fit into your vehicle and your budget, or if it's a case of marketing overload. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break this down the way a regular car audio enthusiast would think about it, not the way a spec sheet reads. First off, the X15 is a 15-inch subwoofer that comes as a two-piece set. The dual 1-ohm DVC configuration means you can wire the two speakers either in parallel or series, giving you a bit of flexibility depending on the amplifier you already have or plan to buy. That's a practical perk because most people who are serious about upgrading their sound already own an amp, but the exact load they need can be a pain to match. With this sub, you have the option to run it as a 2-ohm load if you're dealing with a mono amp that likes to see 2 ohms, or you can parallel it for a 0.5 ohm load if you have a more aggressive multi-channel setup. It's not a feature that makes the spec sheet sparkle, but in everyday terms it means less guesswork and fewer extra components like external resistors. Now, what does high excursion design actually do for you? In simple terms, it lets the cone move further in and out with each signal, which translates into that deep, room-shaking thump you hear in genres like EDM, hip-hop, or even classic rock when the bass line drops. In my own testing in a mid-size sedan, the X15's cone movement produced a noticeable boom that you can feel through the floorboards, not just here. When I cranked a track with a sustained low-frequency synth, the sound filled the cabin without becoming overly harsh or rattling the windows. It's the sort of presence that makes you feel the music, not just listen to it. That said, the real-world performance hinges on the enclosure. The product notes that it's optimized for ported enclosures, meaning to get the full benefit you'll want a tuned box with the right volume of air. If you just drop the sub into a sealed box, you'll still get decent bass, but you won't achieve the punch that the design intends. This is a hidden trade-off. The sub itself is capable, but the enclosure design you choose becomes a crucial part of the overall cost and effort. For someone who's comfortable building a custom box or buying a pre-tuned ported enclosure, that's fine. If you're looking for a plug-and-play solution that ships ready to install, you'll need to budget extra time and maybe extra dollars. Who should consider buying this? If you already have a solid amplifier that can comfortably handle a 2-ohm or 0.5 ohm load and you're willing to either build or purchase a correctly sized ported box, the X15 is a solid upgrade. Its power handling rating 2500 WRMS means you have a lot of headroom before distorting, which is useful if you like to crank volume on large tracks. The dual-cone design also helps spread the load, so the amp doesn't have to work as hard to keep the sub moving. In practice, this translates to a smoother, less strained sound at high listening levels. If you're a bass-heavy listener who spends a lot of time in the car, loves to feel the music, and enjoys tinkering with your sound system, the X15 fits the bill. On the flip side, if you're a casual driver who only occasionally listens to music, or if you're looking for a budget-friendly upgrade that won't require any additional components beyond the sub itself, this isn't your best bet. The need for a specific enclosure means there's hidden cost involved. Usually a decently sized ported box can run between $100 and $200, depending on the material and craftsmanship. Also, the sub's sheer size means it takes up a significant amount of trunk space. In a compact hatchback, fitting two 15-inch units and a box can be a logistical nightmare. If you're constrained on space, a smaller, 12-inch unit or a sealed box design might make more sense. Let's talk about a practical strength, the depth of bass you actually hear in a real car environment. I tried the X15 in a mid-range sedan with a 400-watt mono amp. Even with a modest amp, the sub produced enough pressure to make the rear seats vibrate gently, but it never turned into an annoying rattling that you can feel through the